Kiss longtime manager says final show of End of the Road tour will happen in 2023. For those of you that do not know about Kiss's kind of like final tour, they've been on it for like 10 years. Let's be honest, they've been on it for a long time. It was like, End of the Road, Goodbye tour, Last tour. They had like 20 different names for the thing. And they just kept going and going and going. And I think it was a year or two ago, Gene said that they were adding like 100 more shows to it. But apparently, their manager is saying that the final show that Kiss is going to play will be in 2023, or at least the final show for this tour. I mean, they are in their 70s. Gene and Paul, I know, are in their 70s. I'm not sure about Thayer, and I cannot remember who the drummer is off the top of my head. Um, but I actually did see Kiss in concert a few years back, and it was a delightful show. I think it was like 2018 or somewhere around there, 2020 maybe. At a local venue. Can't remember exactly what year it was, but really enjoyed the show. Really cool pyrotechnics. Definitely something where they're really, really good. Watching them. A lot of people I know, may not just necessarily like their music. They might not have the most popular songs in the world, but it's more about physically being there and going to their shows just to see what they do. So they're hanging up their hats after the final show, which is going to be very, very difficult and very emotional for them after 50 years of doing this, and they love it. Kiss longtime manager Doc McGee has said that the final show of the band's End of the Road tour will finally take place this year. Uh, and they're just going to change it from End of the Road tour to the final tour or something. They might do that again. This might just be a massive troll. Keep that in mind, too. I mean, heck, the Rolling Stones are still doing it, and those guys, I think, they got to be are they in their 80s? If they're not in their 80s, they are close. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, they got to be close. This news comes after the repeated reports of the bands themselves that Kiss was far from done. Frontman Paul Stanley said, "I'd like to say that this is the end of the road, but they keep paving more road." Gene Simmons even recently admitted that they plan to do another 100 cities, as I mentioned already. McGee spoke on a podcast, noting the last show of the tour will be finalized in the next few days. The announcement coming soon. One thing about Kiss, we've always been that band that went to places where most bands didn't go. So we play everybody's town, you name it, we play there. So we always go where the people are anyways. The reason why we're continuing to do this last term is because obviously the pandemic has stopped us from finishing. And the fact that people just wanted to see us, but we had to end it at some time, which will be this year. There's a lot of talking about everything, and nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. So what we've kind of put in our minds is let's go through this like this is the end of Kiss as we know it. And whatever comes our way with technology and everything else, we'll look at it. Will be Gene and Paul out there in makeup? No, I can tell you that. They're hanging their hats up after this final show, which is going to be very, very difficult and very emotional for them after 50 years of doing this. They love it. Hopefully the news, their final show, will Quinton Twisted Sisters Dee Snider, who recently called out the band over their farewell BS, noting that it's impossible to miss a band when they refuse to go away. That's interesting, Twisted Sister there stirring up some drama, but no, he's got a point though because they constantly have been saying they've been on a farewell tour for like the last 10 years, and they just keep going and going and going and going. I mean, I guess as long as the money is good, why not to a certain extent? But he's got a point there as well. Now, Gene Simmons did at one point mention that Kiss may go on without Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, who are like the two original members. Obviously, Ace and the drummer, Peter Criss, whoever else. A couple of members have switched up here and there, but Gene and Paul have been there the entire time, and what they have mentioned is possibly replacing them. So this band is more of it's always been more of a business than an actual band. I mean, look at all of the merchandise there is out there for Kiss. And would it really surprise you if they just find some dudes that are similar shape and height to them, throw some wigs on them, throw some makeup on them, and they just lip sing the concerts. Either that, or you get some actual singers out there. That are about the same size, and just dress them up and make Kiss, basically be the band that never actually dies, because it's more, as I said, it's more of a business than it is a band. And sure, there's some really good. They got a handful of good songs, like "I Want to Rock and Roll Night Party Every Day," "Detroit Rock City," to name a few. But at the same time, I could definitely see it going on without them. I could see them, audition basically, Paul and Gene being the managers and auditioning people to replace them in the band, essentially, and take over, and they could write new music or whatever else and what have you. Use the same instruments, dress up in the same gear, and continue the show, and call it Kiss, or New Kiss, or something along those lines. But it'll be interesting to see them, finally farewell, because I got nervous. I think I want to say when I was in high school, and I've been out of high school for a bit now. Um, and I was like, oh, this is a band that I liked. I just got into them, middle school, high school, and they've been around for a long time already. At that point, you're talking to the more of the early 2000s, when I was in middle school, and I was like, oh, they're starting the farewell tour. I was like, I gotta see him. I gotta see him at least one time, before they're done and forever, because they are getting up there in age. And then it just kept going on and on and on. And I was like, do I really need to like be worried about it? Because I think they're just gonna keep playing forever. And eventually, they did show up to my local venue a couple of times. I think I missed them once, but got them the second time around. They came, and I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go see them, and it was. I really enjoyed it. It was definitely a cool experience watching them. They had like this zip line thing, because I didn't even have an inside ticket. I had a lawn ticket, because I don't think I had a lot of money on me at the time. And Paul Stanley was on the zip line and went flying out into the crowd, and actually came up to the lawn and was in the lawn playing for a couple of songs, which was pretty neat, because when you're in the lawn, you're like really far away from them. But it was kind of neat having him physically come into the lawn. You got to get up like right next to him. Essentially, I could reach out and touch him if I wanted to. Which I didn't, because security is going to drag you away. But that is what it is. So let me know what you think about Kiss supposedly finally ending. I'll believe it when I see it. We'll see what actually happens. Hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, leave a comment down below what you want to see for future guitar music related content. My name is Steve Gray. This is Gray's Guitars. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.